Glasgow, Glasgow City, 7th July 2019. The usual mixture of brilliance and stupidity. All of the advances and discoveries of the LIGO collaboration in gravitational wave astronomy, and my department is ignoring the reality right in front of them. That meathead Dr. Muntz's attitude was enough to convince the funding committee to laugh my project proposal, my Highland holiday, right out the door. He didn't even have the grace to wait until the end of the week before taking paid leave for a trip north of his own. I'd be concerned enough that he was trying to steal the credit for my discovery for himself. But in his excitement to jump at the opportunity I dropped right in his lap, he seems to have forgotten to tell his contacts in the Ministry of Defence how to reach him. I played the naive grad student, promising to pass along the Colonel's congratulations at securing the government research grant when we next spoke. Unfortunately for Dr. Muntz, my gut feeling not to share just how specific my calculations were has paid off. With any luck, he'll be hunting the Grey Man and Sgurr Mor weeks after I've been to the Phalanx. Fort William, Highlands, 10th July 2019. I managed to meet up with an old friend I met on a stormy hike, a Highland Ranger with the National Trust called Boyd Jackson. I tracked him down to a pub and asked him about strange happenings around the Phalanx. He didn't seem to put much stock in the stories himself, but after opening a bottle of bourbon for him, he was a lot more talkative. I had offered a local single malt, but he insisted. He hadn't been there himself, but he'd met some spiritualist type who had. There were folk tales about people being taken by fairies, hikers going missing in all seasons on the remote trails, Highland legends about ancient druids going on spirit journeys. Boyd marked the spot his friend had told him the sacred site was, on a short spur east of Sgurr Mor, overlooking Loch Lee. We spent the rest of the night talking about other Scots legends, Knuckleavi and the like. I was happy to assure him I was just on a holiday, though the irony stung me. I don't know if these rumours are related to the gravitational wave readings I found, but they're a decent place to start. Almacara, Highlands, 11th July 2019. As much of a meathead as he is, Muntz is smarter than I gave him credit for. I caught sight of him on the road through the Great Glen and had to detour towards Skye. Looks like I'm taking the scenic route. At least, this gave me an excuse to meet Boyd's spiritualist friend, James Kirkbride. Far from hugging trees and strange substances, he claims to be an actual wizard. The old man seemed ready with some practiced tourist spiel until I mentioned detecting a strange signal from Sgurr Mor. He squinted at me while I told him Boyd sent me, and about Muntz and his military connections. Kirkbride has given me a more precise location for the site. According to him, my original deductions were right on the money. I'll have to try to account for confirmation bias. I'm not sure why he was so forthcoming with me when he's so concerned about the government learning about this. I was planning on publishing these findings myself, maybe earning a PhD for it. At any rate, our goals seem to be aligned for now, so I'll just have to stay alert. Kirkbride spent the rest of our meeting dropping hints about the site. People don't just go missing there, he said. Sometimes hikers run into odd strangers on those hills, or find carved stones and bones that have no right being there. Things that don't make any sense in the geological record. He seems almost giddy, like he's enjoying knowing something a scientist doesn't, but that doesn't seem to suit his character. If he's to be believed, maybe I'll be spirited away by fairies myself. Sgurr Mor, Highlands, 12th July 2019. After travelling through the night and catching some sleep by the side of the road, it was an 8-mile trek up through forests and another 4 along the mountain chain before reaching the site. After taking some time to rest and have some lunch, I set up my makeshift apparatus and settled in to run my experiments. Like in the famous Schehallien experiment of 1774, I'm using a pendulum to detect changes in the local gravity. It's astronomically less sensitive than a laser interferometer, but if I'm right, the results should be quite obvious. It's also more appropriate, as that experiment was also performed in the Highlands. While enjoying the view, I spotted a figure ascending a rough, steep path towards the peak. If it turns out it isn't another hiker, and Muntz is bumbling around on this mountain as well, well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Later. It's done. It's really here. Like a window in the air, but I can't see the edges. I thought... For a second, I thought I saw a small masked face with whiskers, but it's so dark. I was watching the pendulum. I set it swinging out of the wind and spent what must have been hours watching it for even the slightest change. As the sun started to set, I sort of lost myself. Lost track of time. Completely focused, but unfocused. Watching it swinging back and forth. Out of nowhere, it started swinging in a circle, and I felt a wave of dizziness hit me. I barely found my balance again when I heard a loud cry. It was Muntz, barreling down the ridge, looking ready to kill me. We fought. It was dark, and he must have had about 50 pounds on me. But somehow, I pulled him down, and we rolled across the slope. I managed to brace myself on the rough ground, but he tumbled over the edge of the ridge. I didn't hear anything afterwards. I climbed back up to the testing site. Here it is, just beside where I was sitting. When I could bring my thoughts back together, first thing I could think was, this would give those scientists at LIGO something to write about. But looking at it, at the ground that's completely unlike the stones and mosses that should be there, I get a different sense. Whatever this is, it's bigger than just one person. It's bigger than any renown I could earn. When there's another world at my fingertips, ready for me to reach for. I'm taking it all with me. It's not much equipment, but I'm going to need it. Nobody knows I've come here, besides Boyd and Kirkbride. Maybe Muntz. Maybe he kept his habit of not updating his government friends on what he was doing. Well, I've been right so far. I have a whole world in front of me to study now. I could probably be more ready for it, but I doubt it's any more ready for me.